d'un affant sur le banc. Faridula si manette, doni point à volinette, pina sans mi manicette, d'un affant sur le banc.
My name is Couchcoop, and Hollow Knight Silksong is finally here. Team Cherry did 3 very interesting things with this game. First off, they made us wait 8 years for this. To be fair, Hollow Knight OG does have an incredible amount of DLC. They have also released the game at $20, £16. Now, hardcore Hollow Knight fans would have been prepared to go to at least £30, £35 minimum, I should imagine. So that was very generous of them, I feel. They also didn't allow any early access. None of you rad brads gaming cowboys got the chance to get to this early. As a smaller creator, that one was gold. Finally, a level playing field with the algorithm. Did I take advantage of that yesterday? No, I was offside. I also want to see this game on the PlayStation 5. This is the Game Pass Day 1 version. I own Hollow Knight on 3 systems, the Switch, my PS4, and of course Steam. The Hollow Knight series, which is what we can call it now, is the Metroidvania game model. Other bangers in that category include Dead Cells. Ori and the Blind Forest was a particularly good one. But what I want to get at is that Silksong is not a deviation at all from what made Hollow Knight so damn great. And that's its non-linear progression and very sharp and tight combat mechanics. I would like, if I could, to make a particular fuss about the visuals in Silksong. It's got some absolutely beautiful parallax backgrounds going on all the time within the starter level. Transitions and scenery, they're just impeccable. It's a beautiful game to look at. It also, and this is for me, feels a little bit sharper on the input, particularly with combat. Now, there is one obvious change to the moveset at the start, and that is no pogo kills. What I'm talking about is Hollow Knight OG had a tap down and attack, and you would instigate a plunge attack which you could bounce off the top of enemies with, Mario style. It was used to get to some secret levels, but it was also quite a safe move if you were coming into a fight from above. Pogo is now a diagonal dive dependent on which direction you're facing, and you can actually put it into your moveset to extend your jump range slightly. It takes a tiny bit of getting used to, but Pogo is not gone, it is just not available off the bat. I do feel a little bit more confident on the upward slash as well, and you are given quite a meaty move on RB early doors to open up a boss. We'll get into that in a second. Everything is in the right place for this sequel. It's absolutely a breath of fresh air on the current calendar, but I will say Hollow Knight still gets played on my PC. I wouldn't say that 8 years flew by, but that DLC certainly gave the original game a hell of a lot of longevity. Another smaller indie platforming side-scroller, incredibly difficult game developer under the Cuphead IP are also taking a very long time to follow up with any more content in the original game's direction. They are brothers, I think. Hopefully they see, and we will see, a massive success on Silksong. Nothing motivates development like colossal financial success. There is the theory that something released on Game Pass Day 1 that's multi-platform can sort of take the sting out of some of the numbers. Apparently Steam sort of had a wobble when this went live on sales. I can only imagine the phone call through to Gabe whilst he's on one of his 16 yachts that the Steam platform that he used to run is about to fall over because people are stuffing too much money into it. That one is pretty incredible. There are a lot of articles bouncing around praising the developers for that price and using those no early access tactics. Let's get back to the video game as opposed to industry gossip, but I did want to cover it because, as mentioned, Team Cherry bucking all of the traditional trends and the routes that a lot of the AAA studios go down has clearly worked for them, and that's a really good sign. I do want feedback from any Switch or Switch 2 owners on this game's performance as well, because it's not particularly meaty graphically, but some of those backgrounds might make the original systems chug a bit.
Goralos.
Hironare.
Kietska.
And I feel I should mention, for the entirety of this day, the game hasn't worked off my Game Pass app. It will collapse every time I shut it down. I've had to reinstall it about 7 to 8 times. Thank God the cloud saves are always there. If my internet wasn't half decent, I'd be absolutely screwed with that one. I would have not been able to get this video out today. On a difficulty front, how do you feel it compares to Hollow Knight OG? Well, here's the thing. I feel, you have to always put that in when talking about Hollow Knight, that the difficulty is a little bit more forgiving in the front end of Silksong than it is to Hollow Knight. That may just be my experience with the genre, brackets brag, but I think it's kind of the devs just making it as accessible as possible, because a very high skill wall early on will put a lot of people off. You think about how many new gamers are on the market now over the last 8 years. Some of them would have never played Hollow Knight at all. So that brings me back to this video's content. I'm going to show you one of the first main bosses. At this point with the game, the only way to figure out if this is better than Hollow Knight OG is to get a lot further through it and see some of those later game bosses, try out some of those cool moves. So that video will come at a later date, and it will be on the PlayStation 5 also. And this will probably crop up in a list as well. It's been a long time since I've looked at the full roster of decent Metroidvania games. It feels like they've also put a bit more detail into that second currency. So you get rewards from killing enemies, which is like a silver coinage system, but then you also have these rosary beads, which can be dropped as well. When visiting a vendor, particularly the early ones, the amount of stuff you can get on that map front, so I thought it was just, buy the map, job done, push LB. No, you've got to get the marker, the quill, you can put down the benches. I know this system existed in the original game, but it just seems a bit more intricate with Silksong. The subtleties that they've put in with changes on this game are really subliminal feeling almost, because on the face of it it's identical, but they've just done enough to interest everybody, I feel. Hollow Knight fans and of course that important new audience. And talking of important new audiences, if you have not come across me before, please feel free to like and subscribe or leave a snarky comment. Indie games have always been one of the bedrocks of the channel, and a lot of the best local co-op and split screen experiences are also found in that direction. No pressure Borderlands 4. And that also brought me on to one of my outlandish fantasies that I had about the release of this game. I thought they would have kept it secret and given us local co-op, i.e. made Hollow Knight join Silksong, because she does appear over in the original game. She's actually one of the tougher bosses. Never say never, Coop. Nobody saves the world. I would also like to hear if you too are experiencing technical issues on the Game Pass front or with any other platform that you are accessing this game through. Does it have haptics on PS5, Coop? This one you will have to wait to find out for. I also very much cherish my PS4 physical copy of Hollow Knight OGs. Yeah, I just googled it, physicals 2026. Something tells me I need to have that video out before then, so stay tuned. Can you think of the nearest thing to this that's local co-op? And it might have to be Sundered, to be honest. And I may even roll out a feature on that game because it's very old now and it's particularly good on local co-op. I did want to mention in the closing comments that as a standalone IP, this is one of the finest Metroidvania games currently available on the market. We are very lucky that Team Cherry didn't sell off the rights to some dodgy studio and we'd be dealing with one of these chimera sequels. My name was, of course, Couch Coop. I am still wrestling with some No Man's Sky PC performance issues at the moment. That might be my next video. I shall see you down there.